So good evening. We are back again with the Real Talk podcast. We're going to talk about that shambolic performance up at Goodison. We're going to talk about 2-6-7 Harry Kane with 0 trophies, dispatching Manchester City. And we can talk about Manchester City being sanctioned by the FA, because that could have massive implications on them going forward and for the rest of the Premier League going forward. But big up to everybody in the chat. Make sure you are smashing the likes. Make sure you subscribe to JEZ'S channel, link in the description, with Ken's Insta. Jez, how are you, mate? How you been?
All very good, mate. All very good. Got over the disappointment of the Goodison drama that we seem to suffer now these days. We can't get up there and beat Everton when we used to go up there and just absolutely smash them back in the day. But yeah, I mean, it was a very disappointing day out, wasn't it, really? We got away with a lucky one there yesterday, with Tottenham doing us a bit of a favour. I'm not getting this Harry Kane beating Jimmy Greaves, because I don't understand why they're not actually counting all the goals. Is that a reason?
He's still one behind, isn't he? They've chalked up to Greaves' goals.
Yeah, I understand that. It must be that we don't count the goals in the Charity Community Shield anymore. But yeah, good weekend. Did a show last night about the legend that is David Seaman. Got good reviews from that. I
watched a bit of it today, mate.
Yeah,
I've got about 15 minutes left.
Sorry?
I got about 10-15 minutes left of it. I had it on. I say I watched it. I had it on while I was mopping and sweeping my apartment.
Fair play. Yeah, so good weekend, mate. Apart from that loss, which was a great one.
How about you, Kenny? How you been, mate?
Like I said, I've got a good week. I've had a weekend, not a great one because Arsenal lost, but you know, two things we're going to go on a show. I think my problem is I'm from Islington, North London. I'm North London born and bred. There is absolutely no way I'll celebrating Tottenham beat Man City. I think it's each their own, but I think it's quite shameful for Arsenal fans to celebrate a Tottenham goal. I mean, you know, don't get me wrong. I can understand you celebrating a Harry Kane if he scores for England, but to celebrate Spurs beating Man City when we've got 18 games left, you know, the thought makes me absolutely sick. It sits to the stomach. But then again, I'm only a middle-aged man from North London, Islington. Maybe there's a difference between Islington Reds and the rest of the fan base. I don't know. But in terms of Man City as well, we're going to get into this, but I can categorically say, one, I want to win this title fair and square on the pitch. I do not want to be handed this title by the Premiership. Thank you very much. We worked our nuts off to get this position. We've gone in podcasts, criticised the manager, demanded changes, and then we're going to have the league just give it to us. No can do, mate. They're cooking the books. But guess what? There's 20 other clubs. There's about 19 other clubs in the Premiership doing it, aren't they? I don't know if they do it.
They just all do it in different ways. But yes, we will get into that in a bit. But let's just start off with the Everton defeat. We won't spend too long on that, because obviously we can talk about Man City yesterday. Again, I'm with you, Kenny. I don't sit there jumping up and down. Believe it or not, I am not a Spurs fan. My loan to City has been terminated after this shocking announcement today. So I am back. I'm back. But yes, I don't jump up and down and cheer Harry Kane goals for Tottenham. I do, however, raise an eyebrow and go, oh, okay, Man City lost. Not, oh, great, Tottenham won. Yeah,
it means nothing, mate. It means nothing. With so many games to go, it means absolutely nothing. Just shows you at this day of the season, there's no use against the Premiership. Both Man City and Arsenal played their bogey teams, and guess what? They lost to their bogey teams.
Yeah, facts. Jez, let's start with this defeat, because we had 8 days to prepare for Everton away, a stadium we've not won at for 6 years now, 6 seasons, should I say. 2017, up against Sean Dyche, who's got a good record against Mikel Arteta, with some ex-Burnley players at Everton as well. One of them scored the winner, and they did exactly what I expected them to do, Jez. And I don't understand how every time we come up against a team like that, Newcastle being another one that's going to make it hard for you, get stuck in, they're going to be dirty, dark arts of the game, they're going to kick the ball away when you're about to take a free kick, stuff like that, little niggly fouls. I don't understand why we struggle against teams like that. What do you put it down to, mate? Because we've seen us time and time again lose or draw to teams like this that play like this. Even if you go back to the second pre-season, the one during the World Cup, we played Juventus and they did pretty much the same. Just sat there, parked the bus, made us try and cross the ball into the box, sideways, loads of half chances, not really any clear-cut chances. Well, why can't we break a team down like that?
It's just quite obviously to me, physicality, lack of, and the fact that we just don't have the quality at times. Our midfield just didn't turn up that day. I think as a man, apart from Saka, they were poor. I think Partey, he's a big, strong, physical fella. He wasn't on that game. Odegaard went missing again. Xhaka was way off the boil compared to how he has been this season. And I think I forgot his name now. Oh, Christ. I've forgotten his lead. Martinelli, I thought, was very poor. Very, very poor. And it just shows to me there's a lack of tactics there, that when you've got a big physical team who's going to come on you playing dice ball, which we know he does. He did it against us when he was at Burnley and embarrassed us at the Emirates when they came and beat us there for the first time in about a million years. It is the fact that we just don't have that ability to turn it around. I don't think Arteta quite got it right at all. And that they are a bullying team. With the way Sean Dyche set them up, they were always going to bully us. They were on us from minute one. And the way they came back and defended, there's one occasion, I think it was Eddie was on the ball, and they had 11 men in around the box. Now, I'm sorry, you're not ever going to try and wiggle your way through that. I mean, bless him, he tried, but he's just not the man to lead that team in that sort of game. I'm sorry, he isn't big enough. He hasn't got the experience. He hasn't got the technical ability to do it. So it's obvious to me that's what went wrong.
Yeah, I agree, mate. Like we haven't, we've said this a lot on this podcast as well. Not many other people I've seen have touched on it. Listen, maybe I've just not seen it. We don't have a plan B. It's plan A, plan A, plan A. Where's the plan B? Why don't we just chuck Gabriel up front? Like, why don't we put Saliba up front? Like, it's not like they're going to try and attack us because they didn't. Yeah, they scored their goal. And listen, they fully deserve to win, by the way. Yeah, let's not take nothing away from Everton. They fully deserve to beat us, and they could have beat us by more because the first half, they should have been 2-0 up. But they got their goal. And after that, it was just a case of, okay, well, we're happy just to defend now because we trust in our ability to be able to defend. Whereas we didn't have that plan B. So it's at times like that. The same against Newcastle, I said this. Throw Gabriel up front. Yeah, he wins headers. Yeah, he scores goals off corners from headers. Yeah, so make it different. We haven't got a Giroud that can come off the bench, or I don't know, somebody like that, a big tall striker, maybe a Mitrovic or someone like that you can throw a ball in, cause a bit of panic, rough up a couple of defenders, and then you get the ricochet and bang, follow up from Odegaard or someone. We haven't got that, so why not try that? It winds me up sometimes because we keep persisting with the same style. And yes, whilst we are top of the league and it's all great and fantastic and all that, you know, we're going to have a lot more of these frustrating afternoons and evenings in the next 18 games because that is the blueprint on how to beat us or draw against us. We've seen Newcastle do it, we've seen Southampton do it, and we've seen this lot do it, and we see Juventus do it. Yeah, so we're going to have a lot more games like this, and I feel we need to find a way, and Mikel Arteta does need to find a way because every game pretty much that we've had like that since he's been manager, we have struggled. Yeah, and that's something he needs to work on. I'm sure he's fuming about that result, but at the same time, he's got to take some of the blame. What about you, Kenny?
Well, I've said at the time, Everton played their best performance of the season and deserved to win. They're better in every department. We weren't unlucky. There was no issues with the referee. We played badly because Everton dominated us and made us play badly. They forced us into these errors and they shut the door down. You know, it's all well and good, you know, saying this player didn't do this and player didn't do that. Everton were better. You know, they were up for the fight. You know, even if I'm not saying we didn't try our best, I think we did try, but Everton was just too good for us. They outran us, they out-tackled us, and you know, they had better chances. If you can tell me any of clear-cut chances Arsenal had, and I've watched this again because I'm a self-harmer. I didn't see any clear-cut chances we had. Eddie was a chance that he created by himself, and he got himself in a great position, but, he sliced his clearance. Saka, another half chance. Good defensive awareness by Connor Cody. Anything else? Nah, can't think of anything else. Everton, on the other hand, had a clear-cut chance, two clear-cut chances, and with maybe a season or two before, they would have been 3-0 up because Calvert-Lewin would have gobbled up that chance where he glanced his header wide. So, can't have any complaints whatsoever about the defeat. But one thing is, what we touched on is the fact that, we were carrying a few players out there. When it came to the fight, we weren't ready for the fight. You can't have a partially fit Partey out there when you've got players of great athletic ability than Everton. Bleak test Sean Dyche, there was a method to his madness. He chose players who he needed for that game. He got his tactics spot on, mate. Odegaard got a bit of a knock, was basically like marked out that game. Same with Saka, same with Martinelli. One thing I do agree with you on, though, is we have to find a way to break teams down who do defend like that, and they are going to defend like Aston Villa. When we play them in 2 weeks' time, are going to play like that. I promise you. Leicester City won't, because Brendan Rodgers still feels that his teams have got something about them, and we'll probably get more space against Leicester. But Unai Emery, I promise you, will play like that. So not only do we have to sort of like prepare for the game on Saturday against Brentford, but also Man City, but we need to think about where we're going to do it, and hopefully by that time we have JEZ'S fit, because I do think that he is a sort of player that gets defenders in the areas, no man's land, which creates space for our other attackers, creates space for especially Martinelli, and that's kind of playing. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of people going, "Oh, why are you talking about Eddie? He's doing well." I get that. I do get that. I'm not a pork chop. I've been watching football all my life. I do understand it, but we're talking about breaking teams down who are used to playing against Eddies. Someone who chases down those channels, tries to chase down defenders. What about, so they get players like that they mark it. So what do you do after that? Where's the player who's going to, like open that door, unlock that door? Who's going to, go into areas and drag defenders out? Eddie can't do that because his best attributes is what he does well for us. So we want to win this league, and we're going to need every player, including Eddie. So stop crying, stop your crying. I know I sound like one of a Steven Seagal film and everything, but stop crying. Let's just let's just remember that the club comes first, not your favourite player. I've no loyalty to these players. I just want to win. I want to win well. I think all of us in this panel deserve the title after what we put up with. So
Yeah.
I'm taking no prisoners, mate. It's a horses of courses. And the manager feels that as well, because why would he sign certain players then?
100%. And one player I do want to talk about as well. Big up to everyone in here. 500 people watching. Smash the like button and sub to JEZ'S. His link is in the description. Arsenal history and more. And Kenny Ken 1972 Insta. We're going to come to the Man City talk in a minute, people. We talk about their game yesterday and the charges today. But one player I do want to pick out on is Martinelli. I didn't feel he should have started, Jez. And the performance was shocking. I can't lie. I've then seen a video that somebody's edited together from different clips this season where Xhaka, Zinchenko and Odegaard, when he's wide open, don't pass to him. And he's wide open. And it's funny. I know all these videos can be manipulated and that. There was time and time again in that game against Everton where he's got 25 yards, wide open space, and we're always coming back inside. And I know that's a tactic that we use with Zinchenko to come inside. But sometimes games like that are crying out for an overlapping fullback. Yeah, and games like that where you can have a Kieran Tierney, overlap, whip a ball in, causes a bit of panic. And whilst we don't have any tall players, if you're whipping a ball in at pace, slice, it could go into a goal. Yeah, the keeper and the defender could end up clashing into each other, and Eddie gets a tap in. The keeper could parry it, take out a couple of his men, and then you've got a tap in. You can win a corner off of it, score off the corner. And I just feel like some games, especially games like that, where we're going to dominate possession and have them all in the box, all of their players in the box, sometimes is it really necessary to do that? Like, and Martinelli's rightly getting scapegoated, or one of the scapegoats, because he's been shocking for the whole turn of the year. Since January, he's been shocking. But at the same time, it's very difficult, and I'm not trying to protect him here by any stretch of the imagination. I thought Trossard should have started, but it must be frustrating as well when you've got so much space, and then you see all the graphics and the heat maps and all of this, and it's literally give it to Saka, give it to Saka, give it to Saka, which is cool because Saka's a very important player for us and can create. But when it's not working and the other guy's wide open, why are we not passing to him?
I personally think one of the big things I think that Martinelli has suffered from this season is the support of Tierney. I think when you've got Tierney overlapping him and giving him that little bit of space, that dragging defenders out of position, he gets that cheeky little ball from Kieran Tierney, and he scored goals from it. We've seen it. He's not getting that. I personally, for one, I don't like this tactic of Zinchenko drifting into the midfield. It exposes that left wing, and we've seen it a couple of times in recent games when he does that. The opposition go down that left flank and they actually spin a ball in, and it's cost us a goal. So no, I don't like this. And if I was Tierney, I'd be very, very peed off right at this time, because I'm thinking he must be thinking, what have I done wrong? Now, I totally agree with you. Zinchenko is a great player, but we could have him in midfield. And I'll throw this one in the spin, right? We had a shocking midfield on Saturday. If I'd been Mr. Arteta, right, I'd have taken off Martinelli, put on Trossard, or started with Trossard, taken off Odegaard, who I thought was very poor, got Zinchenko in there and brought Tierney on. Now, that's a tactic that could have actually changed the game. It may have made a difference. I'm not saying I'm not a great tactician. I'm not. But it's an option that was there. But no, we stuck with it. And the one thing we did, Lee, when we needed a goal, was we changed a right back for a right back again. We've done it, and we did it again. We're desperately trying to get a draw out of that game. Around 80 minutes. Yeah, you're going to try and win it, but at least if you draw, it's a point.
Same as Newcastle. We did the same. I just want to bring this graphic up real quick as well. This is the graphic I'm on about. That is the average positions for our players versus Everton. Martinelli's out on the touchline, hugging the touchline like he should be. And look how far inside everyone else is away from him. That is a worry, man. Like, Zinchenko, cool. That's where Arteta obviously wants him to be, yeah? But, I mean, that is so lopsided. It is mad.
It is.
That is actually crazy when you look at that. Look how close together them four midfielders are, if you include Zinchenko as the midfielder. Yeah, that is actually mad. And then you've got Martinelli isolated out on the left, all by himself, getting doubled up, trebled up, and all of that. And then as soon as they break, Zinchenko's got to try and filter back across as quick as he can. Yeah, and everyone's got to try and... For me, I've seen this all too often, man. Like, we see it quite a lot with Martinelli, where he's just out there on his own. Yeah, Saka, even though he gets doubled up on, now looking at that graphic, and it's like, I said this during the game when the game was on, Saka's got 2-3 players on him every time, but that's because nobody's helping him, right? And when you see all of them players, how close their average positions are to Saka, why is nobody overlapping him at all? Because I didn't see hardly anyone overlap him at the weekend. Like, he's picking the ball up on the halfway line and trying to drive forward, and it takes 10 seconds. They're all set, and then you see some of our players coming into the screen, and it's like, really, like, come on.
You know, it is, Lee. You think I'm looking at that map, and it's very interesting because what's happening is that when and it's not if JEZ'S was in that map, you point towards Nketiah's position. But you've got Nketiah centralized. Now, if you look at that situation, if it works really in a team, then what it does is that Zinchenko starts there, But what happens is that Xhaka goes down the left hand side, and he meets up with Martinelli. You look at the goal against Man United; it was a case of Zinchenko coming into the middle, and then Xhaka taking his cues to go down the left. Now, if we had Jesus on that side, then what will happen is that Jesus in Nketiah position would be on his bike to go down the left hand side and create that triumvirate, which could either include Zinchenko, Martinelli and himself, or Xhaka can become that triumphant. So we lose the ball. Zinchenko is in that free instead of Xhaka with Partey and Odegaard in order to do the protection. I think that's how we're trying to do it. But the problem is Eddie isn't that player to go to create that triumvirate. So what they do is that they say to Eddie, right, you take out the defender, Xhaka comes down that left-hand side, and then he's the one who's going to create the overlap and see if he can put the balls in the box. They know if they put the balls in the box, Eddie, who's a box-to-box striker, will try and get it, and that's how they're trying to work it. But what Everton did really well is that they had 3 athletes in there. They had Iwobi and said, right, you go out to the right hand, you started left, don't want you there no more, help out Seamus Coleman. McNeil, you're there not just to help out Mikalenko. You're also there to run in no man's land if we're 1-0 up and to actually keep possession. But that's how they did it. They got all their athletes and said, look, don't stop running. Don't let Arsenal get that ball wide. And if they do get that ball wide, I want you two to get there quickly. And I think that's what it was. What it was missing is that against Man United, they try to play football. So we were able to create that triumvirate where Eddie did have that space and he could just wait for his chance in the box. But when teams now with Everton running like that, we needed Jesus to be out there to create that space. If Jesus is out there creating that space alongside Martinelli, that leaves more space for your Odegaards and your Shchenkos and your Xhakas running to. And that's why I said it and I stick by it. We missed Jesus big time. Because that tactic we just shown just tells you everything about how badly we missed Jesus yesterday.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree. Like Martinelli's played his best football this season with Jesus or Tierney in the team, or both. Yeah, and it's no coincidence that it's all down the right-hand side ever since Jesus has been out the team. Yeah, and Martinelli's not been great, but at the same time, can we 100% just pin it on him being like in poor form? Well, no, I don't think we can. I think we have to pin it on the fact that as soon as our left back gets the ball, we come straight into CM. Okay, so that's great, and it's worked, and we're top of the table. But at the same time, we are totally isolating one of the brightest talents in the league to go all the way over this side, and then in games like that, Saka's just doing nothing because nobody can help him because they're just bang on you. Yeah, and mate, that needs to change, man. And this is where the top teams evolve throughout a season, throughout games, throughout years under managers. We've seen Pep change his tactics in game 4, 5, 6 different times, formations. Jose used to do it. All the top managers do it. Excuse me. But yeah, we need to start using that left-hand side more because we're becoming a little bit predictable, man. And teams will suss us out. Everton obviously sussed us out. Everton know how to play against us. Doesn't matter who the manager is. I think that's the 4th manager or 3rd manager that's beaten us since we last beat them. Maybe even more than that, actually. Who was it? Rafa, Ancelotti. Who's the guy? Well, obviously Dyche now. There's 3 I can name. Lampard beat us last season, didn't he?
I don't know. Was Big Frank in charge or was it Rafa? I think, yeah, maybe Big Frank's got his job in it. I don't know.
No, maybe it was Ancelotti.
No. Ancelotti did the double over us.
He was at Madrid last season. What am I talking about?
Yeah, but he did the double over us in what I call the lockdown season.
Yeah, they've had, since we've last beaten them, they've got to have had about 3 or 4 different managers that have beaten us. Yeah. How is that even possible? Not only that, before we move on, one thing I will say, we've lost 4 games this season in all competitions. We lost to Brighton, a game that, well, you see it. No, you didn't go, did you, Kenny?
No,
you didn't go. So none of us actually see the game. Yeah. The other 3 games we've lost have all been in the Northwest. Both Manchester clubs and Everton.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, that's still a bit of an issue then to me because we've always had a bit of a torrid time in the Northwest, in the last decade of Wenger especially. Yeah, and let's hope that we knock that out of joint in the next game in the Northwest, which I think could be Liverpool. I'd imagine it's Liverpool, right? Because we played United there already. Yeah, we've got City coming up later. So yeah, it'd be Liverpool next. So yeah, we've got to fix that as well, because we've been up and down the country, and the only place we really struggle is the Northwest. Like, we don't struggle down south normally. I know Brighton have had a good result against us here and there, but Southampton as well. But we tend to do better against them teams than we do in the Northwest. You know, Bournemouth will go and beat. You know, Brighton we beat this season. Southampton we got a draw. But again, over the years, we do have to sign over both of these teams, and Bournemouth when they're in the league. But them Northwest teams, I know they're better teams, but we need to find a way, man. And it's almost like the North and South divide. It's like, soft Southerners coming up north and that. Do you know what I mean? And that's how it goes, though, isn't it? Let's be real here, yeah? Right? We went up there and we were the soft Southerners. Yeah, we just got bullied. Yeah, and that ain't good enough, man. But let's hope they fix that up real quick in the next game, because if we don't, then we're in a bit more problems than I thought. Lee, I'm a Man United fan. If Man City get charged, United have to get the 3 titles. I don't think it works like that, mate. If I'm honest, it depends, because on that basis, Stoke would get an FA Cup, we'll get a League Cup, Spurs will get a League Cup, Watford will get an FA Cup. I don't think it'll work like that, mate. I genuinely don't. I think they'll just, if they're going to take titles away, I don't think anyone will be getting them. It'll just be written off. But what do I know? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Big up to Long Air Jetty as well, man. Sean Dyche has a bigger light bulb. Big up the panel. Let's move on to Manchester City away at Spurs yesterday. Obviously, Harold Kane broke the goal-scoring record. Or did he?
Well, did he?
Apparently, they wiped off 2 of Greaves's goals in the Community Shield. So he's still one behind then, right? But listen, he the smile, the adulation, the big grin on his face, you could see what it meant to Harry Kane to win 0 trophies in his career at the age of, 29, 30, won nothing. But look how happy he was to be a serial loser, stat padding goals that mean nothing. And his goal ended up being the winner. I thought City was shocking. I can't lie. They hooked off probably their most creative winger in Mahrez. Thought Grealish played all right, to be fair. But that Bernardo Silva, shocking. Yeah, absolutely shocking. How he stayed on the pitch as long as he did, I'll never know. And then Erling Haaland, we've said this a million times, if he don't score, he does nothing. Yeah, and whilst it's all great to laugh and with all the news that's come out today, which we'll get to in a bit, that Manchester City performance yesterday and that result yesterday, Jez, wound me up even more about our result, if I'm honest. Yeah, it was nice that they lost, cool, and we're still 5 points clear. But I think, I may be wrong in saying this, but I think before we play Man City in the second game against them, I don't think we have Everton. I may be wrong. So they could potentially, if they beat us twice, still go above us before that game anyway. I may be wrong. If we had won against Everton and they had lost, 8 points clear, we've got to play them in, 9 days? If we get something there, all of a sudden, even a draw, we're still 9 clear, or 8 clear, sorry, with a game in hand. All of a sudden, we're now talking like 16, 17 games to go. We're 8 points clear with a game in hand. And that 3 points we've cocked up at Everton at the weekend, that to me is a bigger thorn in our side than the Man City losing. Yeah, because yes, they lost and they're still close to us. Yeah, but they could have been a lot closer. And whilst people are having a laugh and a joke, oh, Tottenham beat them, great. Well, I'd rather be 8 points clear than 5. Yeah, because 8 points, you've got to lose 3 games. Yeah, and you've got a game in hand. Yeah, I can't see us losing 3 games, if I'm being honest. But I don't know. What do you make of it all, mate?
Well, first of all, I didn't see the game. I never watched Tottenham. I only ever watched them when Arsenal are playing them. That's the fact that it is. Yeah, it's a help. I'll put it like that. It's a help. We lost 1-0. We lost 3 points. They lost, didn't gain 3 points. So it's negates the situation. I'm not celebrating Harry Kane. I've got no reason to. He means nothing to me. He's at Tottenham. If he's at Arsenal, then fair play. No, Lee, we've got different opinions on Spurs, and I get it. I absolutely get it. But I hate Spurs and it is what it is, you know. I remember once my dad, bless him, when he was alive, said, "If I cut you in half, does it say you hate Spurs?" And I said, "Probably in one of my legs, but there we are. That's how it is." And no, look, I was just actually got up here. The that we were talking about Man City away. Man City away, then we got Chelsea home, and then we got Newcastle away. So that is an interesting period of time. 26th of April, City away, Chelsea home 29th, Newcastle away 6th of May. So that's going to be 3 games, tricky games. That
so we could potentially win the league at City's ground.
Yeah, potentially.
Could you imagine that?
Yeah, because we got what? Arsenal, Brentford, Arsenal, Man City. Then we were away at Villa, away at Leicester, and it's Bournemouth at home. So, yeah, I mean that one period in the season is going to be a tricky one. You know, City away, Chelsea home, Newcastle away. I mean, you said about going up to the northwest. Well, we haven't done too well in the northeast, really, have we, recently? So maybe it is a fact we don't like travelling north. I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, you know, Newcastle gave us a right good game at the Emirates. We've got to go to St. James's Park. Never in a million days is that an easy place to go and play football, especially with their resurgence.
And we see that last season when the pressure was on, we bottled it.
Exactly, we did. And so we've got to be big up for it for that. We know that Newcastle will do exactly what they did to us at the Emirates. They bullied us, they outplayed us, and we've got to go up to their gaff and do the same. We've got to bully them and outplay them. And Mikel Arteta, who we all know watches this podcast, you need to have a plan B and a plan C, because at the moment, playing plan A every week ain't going to work, mate. And teams now have seen and watched Sean Dyche totally Dyche Arteta again. So got to change it up. It's time to change it up.
I just want to read a couple of there's a couple of people in the chat saying, no, you've got to respect Harry Kane. Why? He's a serial loser. He scored 267 goals for a team that have won nothing. All of his goals have meant nothing. Yeah, name me another goal scorer that's at that level elite with goals that's won nothing. That their goals have meant nothing. I can't think of another goal scorer that's got that level of output and won nothing. I genuinely can't think of one. All the greats of the game. Yeah, he has got to be the only one that has won nothing scoring that many goals. And do you know what the maddest thing is? Yeah, he is a serial loser. Look how happy he was yesterday. He will end up staying at Tottenham and he'll end up seeing his career, but it don't matter. He's Tottenham's top goal scorer. Sorry, that's a poor mentality. Yeah, if he had anything other than a loser mentality, he wouldn't be at Tottenham now. He would have left years ago. Yeah, he could literally have gone to any club on the planet. He is that good. Yeah, he is that good. Yeah, he's not just a great goal scorer. He's a great footballer. Yeah, so it's not me mugging him off saying that he's crap, because he ain't crap. I rate Harry Kane. I think he's a top player. Yeah, but he's got a loser mindset. And that is why he's stayed at that Tin Pot Football Club for as long as he has. Yeah, because it is what it is. He's comfortable. Yeah, he's comfortable. He's going to end up being the top goal scorer for Tottenham, which he now is. If you take off Greaves' 2 goals. And he'll probably end up beating Alan Shearer's record, end up being Premier League top goal scorer, England top goal scorer, Tottenham top goal scorer. No trophies. Can anyone name another footballer that's got that many goals and not won anything? I can't.
But you know what? If you're honest, right? If you look at the great goal scorers over the years, you know, the only one who's really got the success they deserve and their goals and match up success is Ian Rush. Lineker only won 1 trophy at Tottenham, which is the FA Cup in '91. He didn't win anything at Everton. You know, he won a few things at Barcelona, but in English football, he only won 1 trophy. Alan Shearer, people say one of the greatest goal scorers of the Premierships. You know, like since the inauguration of the Premiership in '92, only won 1 trophy, which is the league with Blackburn. Yeah. So it's one of the things that sometimes, you know, you could have a great career, but sometimes your goals, you know, you could play for teams that just are, you know, bridesmaids of football. And I think that's what it was with Tottenham. I mean, don't get me wrong. They've come close, but when their mentality and luck has deserted them. But, I suppose, Harry Kane Matt Le Tissier are descendants, because Matt Le Tissier didn't want to leave Southampton to go to a bigger club. He stayed at Southampton. He's got his statue. Where's his silverware?
And that's exactly the point. Big up to everyone in here as well, man. Now, I'm not arguing with people or like putting anyone down for their comments, but like blame the team. The team is full of bottle jobs. Well, he can leave the team.
Yeah,
he could have left that football club any time. He hasn't had to sign any of the contracts he's had to sign or been put in front of him. He was signing a contract under Poch literally every 6 months. New improved 6-year deal, 5-year deal, 4-year deal. Like new improved terms and conditions on the contract. He's not had to do that. He chose to do that. Man United would have signed him in a heartbeat. Chelsea in a heartbeat. Yeah, Arsenal would have signed him in a heartbeat. Yeah, Manchester City wanted to sign it. If he genuinely wanted to leave Tottenham, he would have spat his dummy out. Yeah, after trying to do it the right way with City, he would have spat his dummy out when he did, and he said, "I want to leave." Yeah, and then in the end, he come crawling back, tail between legs. All he had to do is say, "Bollocks, find me as much money as you want, mate. It's only coming off money that you're due to pay me in the future." Yeah, I'm not coming to work. I'm going on strike. I've got my millions. I've got my family. I've got my house. What do I need your money for?
What we see, that's the thing. You know, you talk about Harry Kane. The fact is that, you know, he's only 30 this year, isn't he?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's highly likely that, you know, it's highly likely that he is going to end his career at Tottenham Hotspur. And, you know, is this a fair? You know, there's some players, you know, like Gaza. You know, Paul Gascoigne is another one who was a great talent. But you look at what he's won in England. He's only won the FA Cup with Tottenham. But, you know, obviously he went to Rangers and he had to win titles there. He didn't win anything at Lazio. But it's one of those things. Some people, are happy to be heroes for their country, for just as much as they are for the club. So who knows?
He's hardly a hero for the country either, is he?
Obviously that penalty after that penalty miss. But the fact is, mate, I speak to Spurs fans a lot, and I just think I say to them, and it's not a criticism or take the mickey. I don't know how. I don't think we would put up with going that long without winning a trophy. I wouldn't accept that. I'll go absolutely mad. Cool. I'll be tearing the stadium down. I'll be having.
You say that, Kenny, but we've gone. This is our 19th season, right? 19 years.
I know what you mean. But you know, as Mourinho said about Wenger when we went through our 9 years of winning trophies, he says, Mourinho said in 2010, Arsene Wenger needs to explain to Arsenal fans where he can't even win a small trophy. And that's the thing; they haven't won any major trophies. You know, people call League Cups and FA Cups small trophies. Well, they haven't won them. And that's the thing. They haven't got to a cup final since 1991. That's 32 years. And they've been to a few League Cup finals, lost them as well. So that's a long time of success. You know, and again, I'm happy being a Gooner than Spurs. But there were times when, for 9 years, I was angry because we went 9 years without a trophy. No big club, and Spurs. You may not call Spurs a big club, but when I was a kid growing up in going to secondary school, the big five was Spurs, Everton, Liverpool, Man United, and Arsenal. So,
and Liverpool,
and then the Premiership came up, and then other teams have moved the goalpost. But if you traditionally, they've always been a big club. So to go out silverware is inexplicable, and you know it's something that. I think it's a big ask to get your kids to support Tottenham unless you do, because there is no success, and that's not a criticism; it's just facts.
Yeah, the lad in the chat said they won the cup in 2008. Kenny was talking about FA Cup finals, mate. Yeah, they haven't been to an FA Cup final in how long?
Since 90. They haven't won it since 90. They haven't been a cup final for 32 years.
Yeah, they've been to a League Cup final, but that's what you're saying. He said League Cup, they beat Chelsea.
When I was a kid,
we were talking about FA Cups.
Yeah, when me and Jez, when I was younger, and Jez was probably, getting into his adulthood, used to associate Tottenham with the FA Cup back when I was growing up. You know, rubbish.
Mate, that free kick Gaza scored, mate. I'll never forget that goal.
That still haunts me to this day.
Mad, wasn't it? That was a mad free kick. I can't lie.
Mad game where they played us. They played us. They're playing the cup final against us.
Well, weren't that the year they? Or maybe I'm wrong. Weren't that the year that Gaza popped his kneecap?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
it was.
It's crucial.
Forest, yeah. Right? Yeah, that's it.
His leg up in his stomach, didn't he? Done his arterial cruciate ligament.
Yeah.
Mad.
All by himself as well. He did it himself. He actually felt the guy.
Yeah, he would have got a red card for that.
Yeah.
I remember when that happened. I actually thought the referee. He was the bloke with the big curly blonde hair.
Neil Ridgely.
Yeah, and I actually thought when he was on the stretcher, he was going to give him a red card, but he didn't. Obviously,
Crazy. Big up to everyone inside, man. Big up to everyone who smashed the like button up as well. Sub to Kenny, or follow Kenny's Insta. Sub to JEZ'S channel. Get me words out in a minute. Big up to Brad. He's obviously watched Terry Flewer's fan cam reactions. I've never seen Lee so happy all season after a defeat to Everton. You've probably never tuned in all season then, mate. Yeah, because I was buzzing my tits off at the 6-0 against Sevilla, or the 6-1, mate. Hence why that video's got 70,000 views.
Yeah,
how about that? Yeah, go and have a look at my fan cams.
I wonder which channel Bradley watches. He must be a subscriber of one of your rivals. Maybe it's the one with the fan cams where someone gets down on one knee and proposes to his girlfriend rather than concentrate on a football match. Hey ho, what do I know? Anyway,
before we wrap this up, we're going to talk about the sanctions. I want to start with a super chat real quick from Mr. B. Hey, trio of legends, could City be made to do a Rangers and start again in Division 2, having to keep getting promoted back all the way up to the Prem? That is a great question, mate. And let me come to you on this, Jez. I did a video earlier. So anyone who wants to get my thoughts on it, I'm just going to zip it. Go and watch the video, anyone who wants to listen to that. But yeah, we've only got, 10 minutes left before going with Henry. So yeah, go on, Jez. What do you make of it all, mate?
Right,
obviously, it's all allegedly, Jez. I don't want to get cancelled.
Well, after I watched your show earlier about this, I went in and looked at the sanctions. There's 10 sanctions that can be enforced. I don't believe they'll get kicked out of the Premier League. I think that's a massive, huge thing. I can see them getting a massive fine. I could see them possibly being punished with no signings for maybe 3 years, or I could see them getting a points deduction. I don't know, a bit like what happened to Arsenal back in the time when the Man United punch up, heat the game and all that.
Funny enough, we won the league that year, didn't we?
We did. Yeah. You'd always people that haven't seen it, you remember the classic interview of George Graham talking to the players. Don't worry, boys. I will get the fans up after we've been deducted. I think was it 3 points, and they deducted 2, something like that. But I think the worst that will happen, if anything happens at all, is that they'll get points deduction, massive fine, or maybe banned from buying any players for maybe 2 or 3 seasons. They won't get kicked out of the Premier League. No way.
What about you, Kenny?
Well, I think, again, City have put a robust defence out there, and they're ready. They saw off UEFA twice, and they expect to see off the Premier League. Again, what gets me, all right, is that it's just a replica of a year ago when we had the situation in Ukraine when they tried to do that at Chelsea. Like they sanctioned Abramovich and everyone was celebrating and blah blah. They win on the pitch. Let's not forget, you wanted Usmanov. You wanted Usmanov. You guys wanted Usmanov. You know what I mean? Because you guys wanted Usmanov, you would have known that he would have done the same thing that City had done and what Chelsea are doing. So I don't know what Arsenal fans are talking about. Oh yeah, let's deduct points from City and give me titles. Well, I don't think Arsenal fans are part of this conversation because if memory serves me right, when we did finish second in 2016, we lost the league to Leicester, so they're not going to give us the titles for that. You know what I mean?
Well, we had cup out of it though in 2017.
But I get the feeling that the breaches they're talking about doesn't go that far back. Maybe you know more than me. I don't know how far.
Basically, you said it goes all the way back to 09-10. And
well,
the difference between UEFA sanctions and Premier League sanctions is when the UEFA sanctions came in and they got banned from European competition, appealed it in the Court of Arbitration for Sport. That was time barred. Yeah, so they could only go back 5 years. Yeah, which is why they got that overturned and they could play in Europe again, and they got their fine deducted down from 30 million down to 10 million, With the Premier League, they can't go to the arbitration of sport, and it can go back as it's not time barred. It can go back as far, and they've been trying to conduct this for about 7 years, I think. And from what's been put out there, and it is only allegedly, Man City have been making it very hard work for them to conduct anything.
Do you blame them? Do you blame them? Because the thing about it is that you got to think about it is that the things that the Man City have been charged with, you know, I think you could have a look at the other 19 clubs. If you don't look at the other 19 clubs, look at the clubs who are just trying to get in the top four. Look at the clubs that are always spending money. You know, when you talk about players' contracts and sponsorships, and transfer fees, I think every club's at it. I really think they are at it.
So some of the allegations are that they weren't they weren't declaring. They were kind of hiding money with some of the allegations. They weren't declaring all of their spend. Their income went up massively. It's bigger than Real Madrid's apparently. And then I read into it a little bit more, and there was a company that was just a post box in London, and they had it had no members of staff. Yeah, and that flooded Man City with a load of dough. Then there was another one that was some esports company a company they did for, I can't remember. I read it earlier. It was a company to do with something like eco technology or something, and that was situated in Abu Dhabi. And then when you dig deeper into that, it turns out that the owner of that is the owner of Man City. I mean, some of the stuff is mad, but at the same time, you're right, Kenny. I think there are other clubs that have been doing this for a long time.
I think what's happening is that, you know, if they can try and make an example of Man City, but I just don't see them getting away with that. I could see the most you could see is probably like points deduction if the Premiership are like I said, got any bottle. But all I will see is a heavy fine here. I can't see this happening. I think a lot of clubs would like Man City be, throughout the league and blah blah. But the way I look at it, let's win this league on the pitch. Do it on the pitch. The fact is that, you know, Man City are where they are because they're the best. Because they've got the best players, they've got the best coach. Simple as. You say money buys you love, and it probably did buy you love. But let me tell you something now. They haven't been the best team in the Premiership for overnight. You know, they've been challenging for titles for the last, since they won it 11 years ago. And
that coincides with some of these charges.
Well, yeah. See, that's the thing. That's the thing. In terms of what the situation's going on, I don't really have an opinion there because I'm one of those people who just thinks, look, I'm up for battle on the field. I don't want, to win the title that way. You know, I mean, it's all well and good us calling Liverpool the COVID champions, even though they were about 20 points in front of everyone else when they were winning. And let's sort of forget, we won the FA Cup during the COVID pandemic as well. Who knows what will happen if we played that game against Sheffield United in March at their ground with crowds. You know, the Brown and Rain crowd. We don't know what happened. Remember, they beat us at their ground under the lights. We couldn't cope with that. You know what I mean? So you just never know football.
The thing is as well, I've seen a lot of people saying that if give trophies out and Man United have a free trophy, it don't work like that. And the thing is, the one thing I will say, somebody put a comment in ages and ages ago saying the team that lost the FA Cup final would have lost out on revenue. Right, because the winner would have got a little bit more. Yeah, the winner of the Premier League gets a little bit more revenue than the second place team. Right, so maybe there'll be something to do with like a compensation package if they are found to be guilty of any of this. Maybe a little points deduction, 15 points, 20 points, something like that. I can't see them being relegated, but if they are found to be guilty of all of this, they should be relegated and put right down in the bottom tier.
Well, it's going to be a long case.
Ain't going to get done this season.
It won't get done this season. Don't be surprised if they actually have a hearing probably in November this year, or maybe into 2024. You know what I mean? But it'll be business as normal because as far as I'm concerned, Man City are guilty of nothing because nothing's been proved yet.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We Arsenal Football Club have to say business as usual. You can have as many programs as you like. You can get as many non-footballing experts on and get the best business range out here as much. And, people be interested and watch them. But at the end of the day, they're not in the dugout, these businessmen or these sports presenters. So for me, it's business as normal. Yeah, we're 5 points clear. If Man City win the league this season, then as far as I'm concerned, they won it on merit because of what they've done on the pitch. If we win it, we won it on merit. I want it like that. I want us to win because we're the best, not because of some financial irregularity. The fact is that's me. Other people think, oh yeah, let's just get any old title. Respect to them, but be consistent with it. Don't accuse them and belittle Liverpool's achievement. Then, if you're going to accept a title like this,
Thanks.
I don't want a title like this. I want a title the right way on the pitch.
It's going to take ages to be resolved anyway. But listen, we are going to wrap this up, people. Just a quick yes or no from each of you. I'll start with Jez. What was I going to say? It's gone. I was going to ask a question. It's totally slipped out of my mind. I was multitasking. I've forgotten the question. What's the question?
If it's anything to do with supporting Spurs in any game that helps Arsenal, the answer is no. No.
The question has literally gone out of my head. What was the question?
I don't know.
I have no idea. I've put the link for Henry Wright show in the chat. I'm going on there any second now. Yeah. I have no idea what the question is. I've completely forgotten.
Hey, I don't know, but I just want to reiterate it. You can't be a gooner and want Spurs to win every game. Sorry, you can't.
Facts.
Can't.
Yeah, absolute facts. Big up to everybody who has watched this, man. Make sure you are smashing the like button up and subbing to JEZ'S channel. Kenny Ken's Insta's in the description as well. Jez, what you got coming up, mate?
Podcast, usual time, 6 o'clock Wednesday, with Kenny and whoever. Probably maybe Grace if she's about. And then probably might do some more history stuff. I've got another goalkeeper to do, as in Jens Lehmann.
Jens.
Oh, I love GMs. I love GM.
And obviously that's
until he started running out of his goal, and then we all had heart attacks.
Yeah, hey, he was still great even then,
After he's a good goalkeeper, and then after that, I'm going to start doing some history stuff about great Arsenal defenders, and then
O'Leary,
midfielders, strikers. So that will take us probably up to Christmas this year. But that's the plan at the moment.
What about you, Kenny?
I don't know. I'm going to check my diary because I know like someone's. I've got to talk to JEZ'S off stage anyway because someone has sent me an invitation for something, but depends on what got going on because of whether I'll be able to make it. But apart from that, I'm just going to be. I don't know. I'm going to have YouTube on because I don't want to watch Sky Sports News because it's not going to be anything other than Man City court case, Man City this, Man City that, ex-players, financiers, Simon Jordan. Sorry, mate. It's all over my head. I just want to watch football. And there's none on today.
Yeah, there is none on today.
And just to let you know, Kenny Lee, the mugs are going out tomorrow. I've just been waiting for some strong cardboard boxes to pack them in. They do come in a box, but it's not strong enough to post. So,
happy days. No, nice one. I'm actually going to be able to watch some football tonight, by the way. I'm going to watch Rayo Vallecano against Almeria. See, I do watch La Liga.
You don't watch the Championship, though?
No, well, I could watch it. Is there any Championship tonight? Let me have a look at that. Blackburn versus Wigan as well. I could watch that.
Good Lancashire derby.
Yeah, I could watch that. Or I could watch Burgos versus Las Palmas in the La Liga Smart Bank. I don't know. Is that women's football or is that? I don't know what that is. Maybe that's not even. Well, I don't know. Listen, I'll probably watch Vallecano versus Almeria. Nice bit of Spanish footy. And man, I am going straight live with Henry Wright. The link is in the chat. And make sure you go and join in. I'll be there in literally 2 minutes, people. But until I will be back again later as well. I was going to do a stream. It's just going to be an upload now. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But that'll be about 11 o'clock UK time. And until then, we're out of here, people. Adios, amigos. Edu out.